Hi, my name is Chris and this is Battle Nonsense. Battlefield is one of the few franchises which features combined arms combat, where you can drive a tank, pilot an aircraft or enjoy infantry combat. But during the last few years, players on the ground did complain a lot about how annoying those pilots could be, as they were able to constantly rain fire down on them. This is a game design issue that DICE quite frankly created themselves, when they provided jets and helicopters with infinite ammo in Battlefield 3 and then even added auto repair in Battlefield 4. As a result, players on the ground did no longer catch a break from the constant air attacks, as pilots could stay over one part of the map unless someone managed to shoot them down. Now, even though Battlefield 2 also had its balancing issues with air units, it did not suffer from this specific problem, as pilots were forced away from the objectives since the ammo of jets and helicopters was limited and there was no auto repair. So to rearm and repair their jet or helicopter, pilots had to fly over their team's airstrip at low altitude or visit a helipad. This caused that pilots had to carefully choose which targets to engage, and they had to aim precisely, as you didn't want to run out of ammo on your way back to your base, especially in an attack helicopter. So this design not only caused that piloting an aircraft was quite challenging, it also meant that players on the ground could catch a break between the attacks of the air units. In Battlefield 5, planes spawn with limited ammo, which they can resupply by flying through one of these checkpoints in the air, and the self-repair feature won't get you back to 100 HP. So with these two measures, DICE shifts the gameplay of air units towards what it was like before Battlefield 3. However, what we've seen in the footage from EA Play does not go far enough to ensure that ground units don't get hammered by the planes constantly, nor does it make piloting these planes that much more interesting. So here's what I would like DICE to consider to address these issues. First of all, pilots must not be able to self-repair their plane, nor should they bring back auto-repair. While small arms fire must be able to damage planes, DICE has to make sure that they don't turn them into paper planes. The goal is to allow infantry players to force pilots to break off their attack, so that they cannot do one strafing run after the other over the same spot of the map, but they must not be able to easily shoot a plane down. When a pilot runs out of ammo or needs to get his plane repaired, then it would be ideal to have him travel back to an airstrip where he does a low altitude flyby like in Battlefield 2. But there are limitations to what DICE can still do to the map design, and an airstrip simply won't fit into the theme or the design of some of the maps that have already been created. So this suggestion is not feasible. In the Battlefield 5 gameplay from EA Play, we have seen that players can fly through a big checkpoint in the air to resupply their weapons. I suggest that DICE moves these further away from the objective on the ground to provide the players on the ground with the much needed break between the attacks of the pilots so that they can push forward to the objectives. But having the pilot fly through just one of these icons in the air to get his plane fully repaired and rearmed would be a very dull game mechanic. So instead, I suggest that this icon works as an entry point to a flight path that the pilot must follow. Along this path there are then multiple checkpoints where each provides a specific amount of ammo and health points for his plane. So to get a plane fully repaired and rearmed, the pilot must hit all checkpoints along the flight path. In order to prevent that this gets very repetitive, the game should randomly present the player with a different path to follow and randomly place the checkpoints along this path. I know that this mechanic looks a bit arcadey, but since we won't get airstrips or carriers on every map, we have to work with what the game provides. However, a nice side effect of this flight path is that DICE could use it to teach players new maneuvers, so these could even act like small in-game tutorials or a minigame. With this design, DICE would not only increase the skill ceiling for pilots, they would also allow infantry players to use small arms fire to get pilots to break off their constant attacks while not turning them into paper planes. And the players on the ground would finally catch longer breaks between the attacks of the pilots so that they can advance towards the objectives. So, what do you think about this proposal? Does it go far enough to achieve a better balance between ground and air, or does it go too far? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, subscribe for more, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, have a nice day and take care. My name is Chris, and this was Battle Nonsense.